Cool. Okay. Second recording today. The first was a live stream. I got interrupted because I thought some people were showing up on my property. It turned out to be next door. And went out and got involved with them for a second from about 60 feet away. Guy stayed in his motorhome. He was lost. Happens here quite frequently. And he was turning around on the neighbor's property, and there shouldn't be anybody there. It's a rental house. So I was just a little bit involved and had to shut down. Actually, was expecting that maybe the local first responders were going to swing by. We'd had a brief conversation in email, and I was just going to give them a couple of things. Anyway, so this is part two because I forgot to talk about my fellow travelers. So I used to be fighting quite a bit with Ben and Rob of Edge of Wonder, right? Because I was critical of their lack of critical thinking. And we can just leave it at that and let it go to the point where now, not so much, right? Because we have a common enemy, which is the CCP virus and what it's doing to the planet. It's not the flu, it's a bioweapon. I'm getting in trouble for saying that, but it's the case. It is true that it is a bioweapon, right? It's not the flu. It's not an ordinary disease. It didn't originate by hopping from animal to bizarre animal to human in a soup. I don't fight so much with them anymore. I don't listen to them or any of that. I had somebody tell me that they'd done a live stream, and this guy thought that Rob had the first signs of COVID in his throat, which is you get a throaty sort of feeling or sound. It's hard to duplicate if you don't have it, but it's the mucus layer thickening up on the inside of the throat on the what do they call it? The front side. The front side of the throat. And which makes it difficult to cough up too, because usually when you expel things, it goes up the backside of the larynx and backside of the throat, and that's how you get rid of it. Here, this stuff hangs in on the inside. Anyway, so this guy thought that Rob maybe had that. Of course, it could be like seasonal allergies or any of that kind of stuff as well, or just even regular flu, or in this area here, it's quite damp. Or maybe he's been token up too much. All different kinds of things could cause that. Maybe a harsh drink of whiskey could cause that sound as well. Nonetheless, I sent an email saying, hey, guy, basically, if you need resources, let me know, guy. Because, it's true. The enemy of my enemy is my fucking friend. Especially when my enemy is the Chinese Communist Party on the planet here. I mean, this is just an evil. Communist Party in China is an evil. And therefore, I don't look too favorably on communists anywhere I might find them. But I won't go into the details as to why they're, butt heads and stuff. So that's the fellow travelers. There are many people there are some people that I used to be battling, and I'm no longer, because we're facing a common enemy. And so it's not like I'm giving them a pass, but I'm cutting them some slack. I'm just not going to get on their case, regardless of provocation at this point, because we've all got far better things to do and far bigger enemies to fight. And so that's the fellow travelers part. It's like, okay, Rob and Ben, with respect, no war between us at this stage, right, guys? And let me know. If you get sick, I know how to deal with this shit. I've talked to a number of people through it. So contact me if you need the assistance. And it does work. It actually does work. You go through absolute hell for 15, 18 days. If you're going to come out of it, you may come out of it with lung damage as well. But if you take this other approach that I've been recommending to people, it has so far proven to be a 3-day horrific battle. And lungs are good. And mine are 67 years old. But I doubt I'm going to ever get close to getting it. I'm so para-immune based on sucking down so much vitamin C and chaga tea, right? Anyway, so fellow travelers aside now. Now I got to get back to some shit I forgot on enemies. Okay, so what's really interesting was as I was signing off on the previous, I never had this happen before. I hate Skype. Skype really irritates me. It pisses me off that Microsoft bought it and included it in Windows. You can go through and remove it, but it's a royal pain in the ass, and it causes issues with your registry later on in Windows 10 Server Edition, which is what I'm running here. Anyway, so as I'm signing off on the live stream on YouTube, which was being run through XSplit Broadcaster, and I had the image of the tie-in to the YouTube there. As I'm signing off on it, I get this pinging thing of this nastygram from Jason Goodman. Or actually, the first thing I got was a Skype call. And it was like, I talked to that guy some time back, a couple of years back. And so it was, what does he want? So I answered it, and he's like, bam, 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 you're a lying son of a bitch, oh, bam, bam, bam. It's like, whoa, dude, what'd I do to you? and so this is I didn't realize it, he's turned into an ankle biter, one of these little yappy things that runs around the internet and bites people on the ankle that have a greater number of, or a greater public presence at that moment than he does, and so that's how he gets views, is that he runs around and bites their ankle, and everybody that follows him likes the fact that he's biting the ankles of people that they like or don't like, or whatever the issue is, why they attach to him, I don't know. But he thinks that he will draw audience from the people that don't like the individuals that he's biting the ankles of. And so he's a nasty little fuck, little ankle biter. And so it's like, okay, asshole, what's going on? And he says, he accused me of lying about him and stuff. And it's like, well, wait a second, on the Sarah Westall show. And finally, it's like, wait a second, you fucker. I haven't talked to Sarah Westall in ages, a couple of years. And then he tells me what it was about, which is this Port of Charleston thing where he got all flipped out with this guy by the name of George Webb's information. And he called all kinds of, or he had his, as I understand it, he had his followers get hold of the Port of Charleston and all of this kind of stuff. I'm not saying that he actually told them to go and do it, but in essence, what happened was people called the Port of Charleston because this guy threw a fit in Port of Charleston and told him there was this a dirty bomb in a particular ship. And it caused all kinds of a brouhaha, got the feds involved, and they got a little bit pissy about all of this, the feds, I mean. And now Jason Goodman's getting a little pissy on my case because I said it was a bunch of something. I don't even remember what I said on Sarah Westall, to be honest. I don't remember. But in any event, it really irritated Jason Goodman. And he was at great pains to tell me exactly how much it irritated him. But I don't think it irritated him at all. It's been 2 fucking years. And he's now threatening to sue me if I send him my address. Yeah, like, fuck you, dude. I'm not going to send you my address. You want to sue me? Go ahead. I live in the state of Washington. You can get any judge in any county in the state of Washington that's, in any of the state circuit or any of the state judiciary to issue a subpoena to me and have me served with a suit if you sue me in this state. Or you can get a federal judge to do that and issue an order to local FBI agents to serve me if the suit is warranted at the federal level. So go ahead, by all means, sue me, over whatever the fuck it is you think I've done to you. Anyway, and so I said, well, he, in the little Skype call, he said blah blah blah, and I said some nasty stuff right back to him that he'd really, once I understood what it was that we were talking about, this Port of Charleston incident, I said, well, you fucked up really bad, asshole. And I took umbrage at him hassling me over his fuck up. And all I did was discuss it. But like I say, I don't think he really cares about that. I think he's being ankle biter and trying to get clicks and views and shit because he's trapped at home and he's got nothing better to do. So anyway, and then I hung up on him on the Skype because I had to get and deal with the noise and stuff going on next door. And so I as I was getting ready to go and do that, I got drug into a brief interchange in the Skype messenger, and he called me a bunch of really nasty names. And so I called him a bunch of nasty names right back. Said he was a cocksucking, pussy-eating, wannabe prankster. And what I was doing was quoting Ghetto Boys in Feels Good to Be a Gangsta. And it's like, fuck you, dude. You can get all pissy and ankle bitery all you want, Now that I understand what's going on, it's like, oh, okay, I got another enemy here. I guess I'm fighting with Beta Venus Jason Goodman, And it's like, okay, let's throw him in there with Corey Goode and with David Wilcock. David Wilcock, he's kind of a funny guy. He doesn't really contend directly. He's not much of a fighter at all. And he does weird shit, let me tell you, but in that regard, but okay. And then also I'm fighting with James Gililland, who's he's a great-brained cluck and cuck. I mean, this guy is just, he's just out there. And he's fat. And that annoys him that I say that he's fat. But I say it, he's fat. In my opinion, I think we're about the same age. And he's fat, he's old, he's out of shape, he's weak-minded. These are my opinions of this human animal based on the behavior and the words I've seen him utter. He doesn't realize that he's slandering and libeling people and individuals within his videos, right? And he also never provides and has never, ever provided any proof of any fucking thing in any of his videos ever. He's also so brilliant that he sees 31 Starlink cluster satellites pass in a general proximity to his house, and he thinks it's 31 motherships that are flying right over his outhouse just because he's so fucking special, and that they're Palladians in those giant fucking 31 motherships all in a line that want to communicate because he's the great brain of the planet, and him and Corey Goode and David Wilcock are going to save us all and ascend us into some, fifth dimension. Or density, sorry, that's right. They're dense dudes. They're not dimensionals, they're dense dudes. Anyway, so Corey Goode's a butthead. He's lying about suing me. I haven't been sued. As far as I know, the case has not actually been processed through any court official. There's no docket number. So it's never been presented to a judge. So it's not an official suit until it's actually in the court system. I could sit here and say, I'm going to sue Corey Goode, and then I could write up a bunch of shit and say, this is my suit against Corey Goode. But it's just so much fantasy, so much illusion and delusion, unless it's actually filed by a court and the court accepts it. And in that sense, the judge of the first barrier within the court is to say, this is frivolous, this is absolute batshit, and we don't need this. Okay, that's their very first thing, because most or some considerable portion of lawsuits are indeed frivolous. They're misunderstandings, or it's an area that they're trying to get jurisdiction or standing in where it doesn't apply. So there's all of this kind of shit that goes back and forth. And Corey is saying we're going to be served with subpoenas. It's like, fat chance, dude. The minute I'm served, I'm going to countersue the fuck out of you, because then we've got something legit going on. But I haven't been served. Nobody's sued me. I live in the state of Washington. He's got the wrong address and the wrong phone number, but he doxed me nonetheless. He doxed Jay Widener, Ari Stone. He doxed, I don't think he can dox Gaia. Anybody can look them up. But he's a butthead in terms of his strategy and shit too. And that document that his, quote, attorney prepared is, and I don't know that she did it, right? If she did it, she must have graduated way the fuck at the bottom of the class and taken a long time to gain bar status, because there's no cogent thought there. There's no cohesion. There's no central point with supporting evidence. There's no evidence offered or proffered in any of these cases. There's a claim that we hold the evidence somehow in our hands, and it's a demand on the court that they pry that evidence out of us. And it's like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Plus, they mixed a call for criminal action, which is a RICO activity that's brought by the feds, with other stuff from a civil suit. So it's a big, goulash of stuff that they're going to throw on the court's wall and hope sticks. Well, they're going to file it in Colorado. I don't know any Colorado judges. I don't know what the tone or timbre of their judicial system is there. But I imagine that there's some practical people within that court system that are going to say, this is so much blue chicken shit, and we don't need it on our walls. And that, and get your act together, and frivolous lawsuits are not allowed. Or, they actually bring penalties on attorneys that proffer bullshit to the court in an attempt to get a suit going. And Corey's already blown the legal strategy by saying he's suing people that are not included in the suit. And that's like, you can't do that, fucker. You got to understand the concept that, well, no, I'm not going to try and give you legal concepts. I think they're actually beyond your mind, okay? I do not think you can actually grab this. I don't think you can understand the idea of what a tort is, nor do I think you can understand the idea of what actual tortious interference is. And he claims that all the time. He claims that Jay Widener is doing tortious interference, and Jay Widener did no such thing. Jay Widener presented his opinion to his personal friends. He did not solicit those friends. He did not, it's my understanding, he didn't go and deliberately visit those friends or any of that kind of stuff. That when they happened to run into each other at events they were going to be thrown together at just because they were in the same industry, and people said, oh, hey, how's Corey? And Jay Widener said, well, Corey's a piece of shit, or words to that effect, or something along those lines. And the guy would say, oh, what do you mean? And Jay would tell him about all of Corey's bad behavior, because Corey does do bad behavior. And so these other people quite naturally would say, I don't know if I want to get involved with somebody who not only thinks that they're talking to 6-foot or 8-foot blue space aliens that are chicken aliens or avians, but especially if they do bad behavior, no, they're crazy and a fucker. So no, it's not in my interest economically to get involved with these guys, and so they don't. And that's not tortious interference. Okay, they could have come to the conclusion that you were a fucker on their own, and that's not tortious interference. They are not obligated to do business with you. They're especially not obligated to do business with you if you exhibit bad behavior to people you've done business with in the past. This is just a logical way to do business. You don't invite trouble, because business as an entrepreneur is all about minimizing the huge, tremendous amount of risks in order to make a little bit of money. And that's just the way it is. So anyway, Corey Goode, he's an enemy. He'll be there forever because he's not ever going to sue me. It's never going to end that way. Now, he and James may indeed have stepped over the line in James's last two videos in relation to the commercial enterprise that is Gaia. And you can say a lot of shit about me, right? Well, that's a bad analogy. Everybody says shit about me. But okay, so you can say a lot of things about a corporation. You can say that, I think Monsanto is evil, all right? That's my opinion. I think Monsanto acts in an evil way. But I can't say anything false about Monsanto in terms of their actions. So I can't say that Monsanto is part of the Communist Party's executions and harvesting of organs. Okay, I cannot say that. That's not accurate. It's not valid. It is in fact inaccurate. Okay, my opinion of Monsanto, the company, is not formed by the words I just said. I do not think that they're part of the Communist Party harvesting organs from these poor people in the northwest of China. All right, the Uyghurs. I think Monsanto does terrible things with chemicals that are polluting the planet, and that's my basis for thinking that their actions are evil, in my opinion. But I'm not slandering or libeling them in that. I'm stating my opinion and why I believe that. Now, Corey and James, Fat James Gilliland, and I think he's fat because he presents a fat BMI, which is a body mass index, not a butt-brain integration. Okay, so anyway, he presents a fat profile. He appears weak. From a martial arts perspective, he does not threaten me. I can I can assess his capabilities, and very accurately. I've done martial arts continuously. I'm an expert at, as are most martial artists that have done it for 30 or 40 years, at sizing up a potential partner on the mat. And it's my analysis and conclusion that James is fat and weak. Okay, so I'm not slandering him. That's my opinion. That's my analysis. That's my conclusion. If I were paid by somebody as a consultant, as a martial arts consultant, to examine James Gilliland as a potential foe, that would be my analysis. So I would say to David Wilcock, you're going to have issues with James Gilliland because the mass difference, and because his center of gravity is lower, and because of your own weaknesses, you would have to deal with James in a particular way if you were going to have a serious combative session with him. And that I would point out to you, David Wilcock, how you could best defeat, in a martial sense, on the mat, James Gilliland, the fat fellow. And we can take advantage of his fatness in this battle. Now, David Wilcock is also fat, and he's also weak, and has his own issues, right? So it would be a basically even match, even though James Gilliland is 20 years older or whatever, something like that. But you get my point. I can assess James Gilliland, and it is my conclusion that he's fat. Now, James and Corey have been saying a lot of things that are untrue, that are factually untrue. And it's not their opinion. And it's not that they're repeating stuff the way that they tricked Patty Greer into doing. It is a situation of where their statements are factually wrong, and they know it. So and now James, okay, we can give him the benefit of the doubt, because in my mind, he lives mostly in a fantasy world, and he may indeed be unaware of the differences between fact and the fantasies that he's projecting out from his mind. That's actually my assessment of him. And so, that being the case, but Corey knows he's lying. He knows he's lying about the situation at Gaia, and that he endured at Jay Widener's hands. Jay Widener made him a fucking rich bastard. And this is how Corey Goode repaid him in Gaia. So his behavior was toxic. And that was what created all the bad blood in the relationship, and Corey's kept it going ever since. And he's not draining the swamp of ufology or any of that kind of stuff. I don't even understand the idea of the community of ufology and how that could be in any way altered by any of his actions, because he's not in control of squat. He doesn't control Richard Dolan or Catherine Austin Fitz or Jimmy Church or Jay or myself or anybody. And a community is not an organization like his doxing gang on Facebook. And he's lying about that as well. He's lying about all of these things. And so, we'll see in a court of law if he can ever get the shit together and sue us. It'll be awful hard for him, though, because he's going to have to claim that his life story is fact. And the judge is going to say, okay, I'll accept that, but you have to prove something. You got to show me a 6-foot blue avian feather, or a blue avian, or, your discharge papers from the secret space program, or any fucking thing to offer any evidence. Otherwise, it's all fantasy, and we're not sure if you're a schizophrenic, we're not sure if you're psychotic, but we know as sure as fuck that you're delusional if you say that shit is real. So anyway, that's where we stand. Those are my enemies at the moment. The Communist Party of China. I've dropped my battle with the Falun Gong, as represented by the Edge of Wonder boys. I was never pissed at Epoch Times or any of that. I like their reporting. Their ads annoy the fuck out of me on YouTube. But other than that, I never had an issue with the Epoch Times guys. It was always the Edge of Wonder people that got me irritated. And, as I say, I'm not even going to go there, not even going to worry about them. Best of luck to them. Hope they survive this. You got to get fit, guys. Got to watch out for this shit. It's a bioweapon, so you cannot take chances. And our society's changed already, and a lot of people will catch up to that change. I don't know that lawsuits will ever emerge in the meaningful fashion the way that we used to have in a coordinated legal system propped up by all of the money, because our financial system is now collapsing as well. So, that being the case, Edge of Wonder guys, like I was saying, legitimately, if you need assistance, contact me. I can provide some. And off we go on that. And then basically it's like, okay, Corey, fuck you. David Wilcock, fuck you. And Fat James Gilliland, fuck you. And what a day it's been. Oh, and Jason Goodman, fuck you too, dude. You little wannabe pussy fucker. Jeez. All right. Goodbye. What a day. Now I get to do real stuff. I'm gonna pull down my rifle here, strip it down, mineral oil over everything, every little damn screw, get all the mechanisms all good, and redo the stock. And I've got some additions to put on it, so that'll keep me occupied for a while. And then if the weather clears, I'll go out and sight my other couple of bows. That's been very fun. I've enjoyed that. 67-pound pull on the one, and I've got a 70-pound Marlin recurve that was altered by the guy I got it from. He'd strengthened one part and shortened it on the other. And so it's probably about maybe 82 pounds. And that one I really feel, but it's good to do that. So just for the exercise, guys. And then the eye-hand coordination makes the brain work better, and you're healthier for the activity. And I've got a 40-yard range out here backed by a shipping container. The things from China that they used to send goods in. And the arrows do not penetrate that. I've got several layers of plywood to try and save the arrows from smacking up against the container. Do I have any of those in here? No, it just totally destroys my plastic fiberglass arrows to hit that steel. So anyway, bye.